Hey, Marty. Everyone, it's such an honor to be with you today. I want to talk to you about something that's on my heart. Progress under pressure. You know, life is full of challenges. Sometimes we feel the weight of the world pressing down on us, and we wonder how we're going to make it through. But here's the good news. Pressure is a part of the process. Pressure is a part of the process. When the devil in the darkness stops your life defeats your oppression is part of the process. Life has a way of bringing pressure into our lives. Sometimes it feels like it's coming from all directions. Our jobs, our relationships, our responsibilities. We all know what it's like to feel the weight of life's challenges pressing down on us, making everything seem more difficult. And in those moments, it's easy to start thinking that pressure is something we need to escape from, something we need to avoid at all costs. But I want to tell you today that pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is part of the process. You see, when we go through challenging times, we often think something is going wrong, like we've missed the mark. We wonder, why is this happening to me? Why is everything falling apart? But the truth is, pressure is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're on the path to greatness. Think about it like this. A diamond is only formed under intense pressure. It starts out as a rough stone, but it takes the heat and the weight to bring out its beauty, its brilliance. That same principle applies to your life. When you face pressure, it's not there to crush you, it's there to shape you, to refine you, to bring out the best version of yourself. The challenges and difficulties you're going through right now are not meant to break you, they are meant to build you. They are working in your favor even when you don't see it. Pressure is a powerful tool that helps you grow, helps you develop strength you didn't even know you had. God never promised us a life without struggle, but He did promise to be with us in the midst of it. He doesn't waste a moment of pressure. Every time you go through something difficult, He's working behind the scenes to mold your character, to strengthen your faith, and to prepare you for the future He has in store for you. In fact, without pressure, we would never experience the level of growth and transformation we're capable of. Imagine a tree that never faces a storm. Its roots would never grow deep enough to withstand the winds of life. But after every storm, that tree grows stronger. Its roots go deeper, and it becomes more resilient. The same thing happens in our lives when we go through hard times. It is through that savage reed that we become more resilient, that we get stronger and resilient. And that resilience and growth is perfection. So that tree that never faces a storm, its roots would never grow deep enough to withstand the winds of life. But after every storm, that tree grows deeper and broader. We may not see it in the moment, but pressure is deepening your roots, it's strengthening your foundation, and it's making you unshakable. When you're under pressure, it's tempting to think that you're alone or that you're not equipped for what's ahead. But I want to remind you that you have everything you need to overcome. The pressure you're feeling is part of the process that will bring you to a new level of success, to a new level of faith, and to a new level of purpose. So next time you feel the weight of life pressing down on you, don't look at it as something to fear. Look at it as an opportunity to rise to the occasion. Look at it as God's way of preparing you for what's next. When you learn to embrace pressure as part of the process, you'll find that it has the power to transform you into the person you were always meant to be. Embrace the process. Don't resist it. When life gets tough, when challenges start to mount, it's natural to want to resist. We want to run from the pressure, push back against the struggles, and avoid the discomfort that often accompanies growth. But I want to encourage you today, embrace the process, don't resist it. You see, we often think that our goal in life is to avoid pain and difficulty, but that's not the way it works. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when we're stretched, when we're tested, and when we face the things we'd rather not face. If you resist the process, you'll miss out on the opportunity to grow into the person you were created to be. There's a powerful principle at work here. The process is what prepares you for the promise. Every step you take, every challenge you face is shaping you for something greater. It's easy to look at where you are right now and wish for things to be different, to wish that you were already at the place of success, peace, or fulfillment. But understand this, the journey is just as important as the destination. Think about a seed that's planted in the ground. It doesn't immediately sprout into a tree. It has to go through a process of being buried, breaking through the soil, reaching for the sun. If the seed resists the dirt, if it tries to escape the ground, it will never grow into what it was designed to be. Growth happens in the dark, in the process. And just like that seed, you may find yourself in a season where it feels like you're buried under circumstances, under pressure, or under challenges. But remember, you're not buried. You're being planted. Life is beginning for you. You may be. Weave. When we resist the process, we end up fighting against the very thing that is going to help us. Resistance leads to frustration. When you fight the process, it prolongs the struggle. But when you embrace it, when you allow yourself to go through what you need to go through, the process begins to work in your favor. You begin to see that the things that were meant to stop you were actually the things that were shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for the next level. There's a saying that smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. If you want to become strong, capable, and resilient, you have to embrace the waves. The process is your training ground. It's not meant to harm you. It's meant to refine you. When you stop resisting, when you stop wishing away the challenges, you open the door to the lessons that are there to teach you. Every difficulty you face, every challenge, every setback is a part of the journey. If you can trust the process, if you can embrace the steps along the way, you'll find that not only will you reach your destination, but you'll become the person you were meant to be in the process. The growth, the wisdom, the character. You won't find those things anywhere but in the process. Faith and persistence lead to breakthrough. When you're walking through a tough season, when everything seems uncertain, it can be easy to feel like giving up is the only option. The road ahead feels long, the obstacles feel insurmountable, and the challenges seem endless. But I want to remind you today, faith and persistence lead to breakthrough. In those moments when you don't see any immediate results, when you don't feel like anything is changing, remember that breakthrough doesn't always happen overnight. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see instant results, but faith tells us to keep going, even when we don't have all the answers, even when we can't see the way forward. Faith is believing in the unseen, trusting that God is working, even when it feels like nothing is happening. You may be in the middle of a situation right now that feels like it's taking too long, or you might be feeling like your breakthrough is just out of reach. But don't be discouraged. Persistence is powerful. It's not about how quickly you move through your challenges. It's about the willingness to keep moving forward, one step at a time. Even when you feel like you're not making progress, even when the road is hard and long, persistence says, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. When you persist in the face of adversity, you're not just moving forward in your circumstances, you're building a deeper level of strength, resilience, and faith. Each step of persistence is a seed planted for your breakthrough. It may not look like much in the moment, but every moment of holding on, of pushing through, is positioning you for something greater. Faith is what keeps you going when things don't make sense. It's the belief that even though you can't see it, God is working on your behalf. Faith tells you that the situation you're in is not the end of the story. There's a chapter ahead where your breakthrough is waiting. Persistence is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It's the act of continuing to show up, continuing to believe, even when you can't see the way through. In the Bible, we hear about the woman who suffered for 12 years with a health issue, but she didn't give up. She pressed through the crowd, believing that if she could just touch the hem of Jesus' garment, she would be healed. Her faith and persistence led to her breakthrough. She didn't give up after the first failure or after the second. She kept pressing forward. And in the same way, your faith and persistence will lead to your breakthrough, even if it takes longer than you expected, even if it seems impossible, because that's where it came from. It came from the inspiration of your own imagination and of imagining what you could be at the very moment you were. You may feel like you're fighting a battle that's too big, too overwhelming. But don't let go of your faith. Don't stop persisting. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. It's often in those moments when you feel like you can't go on any longer, when you feel like you've reached the end of your strength, that you're on the verge of something powerful. Faith and persistence are like two wings that carry you to the breakthrough you've been waiting for. God uses pressure to elevate us. In life, we often find ourselves facing moments that feel overwhelming, times when the pressure seems almost too much to bear. We ask ourselves, why is this happening to me, and why do I have to go through this? It's easy to view pressure as a burden, as something meant to break us, to hold us down. But I want to remind you today that God uses pressure to elevate us. Think about how diamonds are formed. A diamond begins as a simple, rough stone, but it takes intense pressure over time for it to become the sparkling, precious gem that we recognize as a diamond. It's the pressure that transforms it. Without that intense force, the stone would remain unremarkable, hidden beneath the surface. The same is true for us. Jesus walked in pressure and strain. The pressure we face in life isn't meant to destroy us. It's meant to refine us, to elevate us to a place where we can shine with more brilliance, with more purpose. Or maybe you're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. You see, God doesn't waste any of our struggles. He allows the pressure to come into our lives because He knows it has the power to shape us into something greater. The challenges you face today, the difficulties that may feel too heavy, are part of His divine plan. Pressure is a tool that God uses to bring out the best in us. It's in those moments of trial that our faith becomes stronger, our character becomes deeper, and our resilience becomes unshakable. When we face pressure, we're often tempted to ask, why me? But the truth is, God doesn't see the pressure as a setback. He sees it as an opportunity for us to grow. He uses those moments to stretch us, to help us reach new heights of strength and perseverance. Just as gold is refined in the fire, we are refined in the pressure of life. God knows that through the process, we will emerge more pure, more focused, and more prepared for what's to come. God's plan for our lives isn't always easy, but it's always good. He allows us to go through difficult seasons because He's preparing us for something better. Sometimes it takes pressure to get our attention, to get us to a place where we're ready for the blessings He has in store for us. It's easy to want to skip the hard seasons, to wish away the pressure. But if we could see things from God's perspective, we would understand that every moment of difficulty is taking us one step closer to our purpose. Consider the story of Joseph. He faced incredible pressure, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. But through all that pressure, God was elevating him. The pressure didn't break him, it built him. It refined his character and prepared him for the position of leadership that would ultimately save a nation. God used the pressure Joseph experienced to elevate him to a place of greatness. Sometimes, in the same way, the pressure you're feeling right now might be the very thing that is preparing you for the future God has designed for you. Pressure isn't a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're being prepared for something greater. The challenges you're facing right now might just be the very things that are setting you up for your next level. God knows what you need to become the person He created you to be, and He's using the pressure to elevate. We often want to avoid pressure, but God knows it's necessary for our growth. He uses pressure to help us grow in ways we could never grow in comfort. Without pressure, there's no refinement. Without challenges, there's no transformation. God is always working in the background, using the pressure to mold us, to shape us, and to elevate us to new levels of purpose, strength, and success. Your best days are ahead of you. So often in life, we can get caught up in what's happened in the past. We look back at missed opportunities, regrets, and failures, and sometimes it feels like those things define us. We start to wonder if we've missed our chance or if the best days of our lives are behind us. But I want to remind you today, your best days are ahead of you. You see, we have a tendency to look at where we are right now and assume that this is it, that the best moments have already come and gone. But I want to tell you, God's plan for your life is not limited to your past. The best opportunities, the best experiences, and the greatest victories are still waiting for you in the future. You haven't reached your peak yet. No matter how great things have been, no matter how successful you've been, there is more waiting for you. And so delay is the factor that paralyzes most people. Your past does not define your future. Just because you've had setbacks doesn't mean you're not destined for greatness. In fact, the very things that you thought were setbacks might be setting you up for something better. Think about the times when you've experienced disappointment or heartache. Those moments were not the end of your story. They were stepping stones that brought you to the place where you can experience new heights of joy, fulfillment, and success. God's Word tells us that He has plans to prosper us, to give us a future and a hope. He's not done with you yet. No matter where you are today, your best days are ahead of you. The dreams that have been placed in your heart are not too big. They're not too far out of reach. God has been preparing you for what's coming next, and His timing is perfect. You may not see it now, but He is working in your favor, and He has something amazing in store for you. Sometimes it can be hard to believe this when you're in the middle of a difficult season. It's easy to think that things will never get better or that you'll never move forward. But I want you to hold on to this truth. God is a God of restoration. He can take the broken pieces of your past and turn them into something beautiful. He can take the mistakes you've made and use them to shape you into a stronger, wiser person. The road to your best days may have had some bumps, but those bumps are not the end. They are preparing you for what's ahead. Even in the seasons when it seems like nothing is happening, even when you're waiting for answers, know that your breakthrough is closer than you think. The best is often just beyond the horizon. What's ahead of you is greater than anything you've left behind, and you are being prepared for what's to come. You might not have all the details now, but trust that God's timing is perfect, and He has a plan for your life that is far greater than anything you can imagine. Your best days are not dependent on your circumstances. They are dependent on your faith, your trust in God, and your belief that something better is coming. If you stay faithful, if you keep believing, if you keep moving forward, you will see God open doors you never thought possible. You will experience blessings and favor in ways that will exceed your expectations. So no matter what your past has looked like, no matter what you've been through, remember this: your best days are ahead of you. What God has planned for your future is far beyond what you can imagine, and He is working on your behalf to bring you into the fullness of that plan. You have not seen your greatest victories yet. You have not experienced your deepest joy yet. Your best days are waiting for you, and they are just around the corner. In life, we all face pressure, challenges, and moments of doubt. But remember, pressure is part of the process. It shapes us, refines us, and makes us stronger. Instead of resisting it, we must embrace the journey, trusting that God is at work behind the scenes. Faith and persistence are the keys that unlock our breakthrough. And through it all, God uses pressure to elevate us to new levels. Though the road may seem long and difficult, your best days are ahead of you. The struggles you face today are simply setting you up for the victories of tomorrow. No matter where you are right now, there's a greater purpose unfolding. The best opportunities, the most joyful moments, and the greatest successes are still to come. Keep believing, keep pushing forward, and trust that the future God has for you is beyond your imagination. Your breakthrough is on the horizon.